Hey friends, welcome to the Fount Coffee House here in North Carolina, and welcome to what is obviously your favorite monthly video series, The Socializer.
Have you done an official poll on that?
An official poll?
Yeah, do you have data to back that up?
Data? No, I just have a hunch and instinct, eyes, ears.
Well, while you look for some real data, we'll kick things off today, shall we?
Suit yourself.
Today we're here to talk about one of our favorite acronyms.
Is it IRL?
Nope.
LOLOL?
Close.
WWGD?
No, not that one. Close though. RTM, or real-time marketing, is what we're here to talk about today.
I'd forgotten.
Yeah, RTM refers to real-time responses to cultural moments or conversations, which give brands an opportunity to enter conversations that they might otherwise not be able to, right? To connect with their audience on neutral territory. It also gives brands a chance to flex their cultural awareness creativity muscle.
Oh, so you're a doctor now.
Yeah.
That's not a muscle.
You didn't know that really existed.
Not a muscle I'd heard of, and I read Grey's Anatomy and saw the TV show back to back.
Yeah, well, it's about as real as your data. So anyway.
Yeah. So when brands do real-time marketing well, and I mean really well, it elevates them to a larger audience and it builds brand loyalty and love. That's the magic ticket for brands, right? So Sarah, remember it was 2013 when the lights went out, there's a blackout during the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Huge football fan, right? Right? Love it?
Huge.
Love it.
The biggest.
Yes. So it was during that moment that a little bit of social media history was made. Oreo posted a tweet about dunking in the dark, and again, it was a moment, sort of a watershed moment in social. A tweet literally heard around the world.
Yeah, that tweet was amazing. Dead simple, and it was perfectly timed. And it really kicked off the RTM era. Fun fact though, that tweet was not just casually tossed off, it was actually created by a prepared creative team who were sitting inside a New York agency in what we call a war room that night, waiting for lightning to strike.
And strike it did. So the Oreo tweet opened the floodgates for brands who sought to define their online personas. Some succeeded along the way. Many have failed, many embarrassing moments, made fun of by my kids, in fact. But for a long time, it was refreshing to see brands posting about things like April Fool's Day or National Donut Day. We at Lenovo have been right in the middle of that for these years. But let's be honest too, 5 or so years later, it's on us to keep this whole thing from getting stale.
Yeah, so how do we keep it fresh for our Lenovo social audience? Well, it's pretty simple, right? We look for opportunities that make sense for us, knowing who we are as a brand, and we look for ways that we can surprise and delight our audience, right? I mean, that's ultimately what we want to do here. So here are a few examples. The Game Boy turned 30. That was a big moment for gaming and nerd culture, right, Gav?
Right, of course, Game Boy, not our product, it's a Nintendo, but we knew this was an occasion that honored an iconic device that would matter to our hardcore techie audience. And sure enough, there was a lot of chatter that day. Game Boy trended on Twitter, and we felt like we made our mark.
Yeah, and here we spoofed those Bud Light corn syrup-themed Super Bowl commercials.
Yeah, just as Bud Light poked their rivals, we pretended to poke ours too, implying that Dell and HP actually laced their computers with corn syrup. Ridiculous, of course, but ridiculous enough to make people stop and notice us for a moment in their social feeds.
This next one was a gift, really, an opportunity to do battle with none other than William Shatner.
Yeah, I think Twitter replies are a hugely underrated way for brands to do real-time marketing. Maybe not everyone would call that true real-time, but it's a way to really stand out in a moment. And let's be honest, when Captain Kirk himself mentions you in a tweet, you're going to tie yourself in knots trying to figure out how to make the most out of it. Virality and fame ensue.
Sure. This one seems fitting to end on since it was Oreo's Super Bowl blackout tweet that started this real-time marketing phenomenon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Sarah, you and I were sitting in a conference room, I still remember, I believe on the 4th floor, early last year when the power went out at CES. It's the biggest tech show in the world, so it instantly made headlines and it blew up Twitter.
I remember that like it was yesterday. We paused our staff meeting to consider the angles, and we co-wrote a very simple tweet, nudging Oreo.
Right, and a little over an hour after that, they responded, and it was on. Now, as you can see, it didn't go crazy viral. It wasn't like 50,000 retweets, but it did make us a player in that moment. It put us on equal footing with the guys who wrote the book on real-time marketing, and it actually drove some press. We got earned media with a lot of positive mentions in publications like Mashable, Slash Gear, etc.
So as we close this out, we leave you with a few rules of thumb that we follow when we engage in real-time marketing. Number 1, be timely. If you weigh in on cultural moments, be sure that the moment hasn't passed. If you make your Gangnam Style video 6 months too late, the joke is on you.
Let alone 5 years too late. Number 2, have an angle. This means be sure you as a brand have a point of view or a reason for weighing in on a topic. And of course, don't be predictable in your approach, or really what's the point at all.
Yeah. Number 3, stay classy. If you do go after a rival company, do it playfully and without a trace of bitterness. After all, this is meant to be fun, right? Social's meant to be fun.
Yes, it is. And with the classy echoes of Ron Burgundy in our ears, we bid you adieu from Fount Coffee in North Carolina.
See you next time on the Socializer.
And now hold your smile, hold your smile. Hold your smile.